Life will test you in ways you never thought possible. It will put you in situations that seem unfair, unpredictable, and sometimes unbearable. But what many people don't realize is that these very moments of hardship are not there to destroy you. They are there to shape you. Every struggle you face has the potential to become a stepping stone toward your strength if you choose to see it that way. Most people misunderstand struggle. They see it as a sign that something has gone wrong, that life has turned against them. They think, if I'm struggling, I must be failing. But that is far from the truth. Struggle is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of growth. It is proof that you are in motion, pushing against the resistance that will ultimately make you stronger. Think about how physical strength is built. You go to the gym, you lift weights, and in doing so, you cause tiny tears in your muscle fibers. It hurts. You feel sore. But in the recovery process, the body rebuilds those fibers, making them stronger than before. The pain is part of the process. Life works in exactly the same way. The challenges you face are the weights you lift in the gym of life. They might be heavy, they might make you want to quit, but if you keep lifting, you will grow. The reason many people never turn their struggles into strength is because they run from discomfort. Human nature craves ease. We want the smooth road, the comfortable chair, the problem-free day. But comfort doesn't change you. Comfort doesn't build resilience. Comfort doesn't prepare you for the storms that inevitably come. Only struggle can do that. Every great story in history is a story of struggle. The hero doesn't start at the finish line. They are tested, often to the point where quitting seems like the only option. But they endure, they adapt, they learn. And through that process, they become someone they never could have been without the hardship. You are no different. The struggles you face today are not random punishments. They are invitations to grow into the person you are meant to become. But for that to happen, you must change the way you look at them. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because every struggle comes with a lesson. Lose your job, and you might learn resourcefulness. Go through heartbreak, and you might learn self-worth. Face financial hardship, and you might learn discipline. The key is to stop fighting the reality of your struggle and start mining it for the wisdom it contains. When you face a challenge, you always have a choice. You can be the victim or the victor. The victim says, this isn't fair. I can't handle this. They stay stuck in the story of their pain, repeating it over and over, reinforcing their helplessness. The victor says, this is hard, but I will find a way through. I will not be defined by this. The difference between the two is not the size of the problem. It's the size of their perspective. Two people can face the same difficulty, and one will collapse while the other will rise. The deciding factor is mindset. Struggle builds more than just toughness. It builds depth. When you have been through hard seasons, you develop empathy for others who are struggling. You understand pain in a way that makes you more compassionate. This is why the people who have endured the most often become the most inspiring. They've been in the valley and they've climbed out. They know the map and they can guide others. But this only happens if you allow the struggle to work on you instead of breaking you. Think about a seed buried in the ground. From the seed's perspective, it might feel trapped, surrounded by darkness and pressure. But without that environment, the seed would never crack open and grow. The pressure is not its enemy, it is its catalyst. Your struggles are the soil pressing in on you. They might feel suffocating now, but they are the conditions you need to break open and rise. The key is not to escape the soil too soon. Many people try to avoid the discomfort, and in doing so, they rob themselves of the growth waiting on the other side. History is full of examples of people who turned pain into power. J.K. Rowling was a single mother living on welfare when she wrote the first Harry Potter book. She faced rejection after rejection, but she kept going. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. Instead of becoming bitter, he used that time to strengthen his mind and his vision for a free South Africa. Oprah Winfrey grew up in poverty and endured abuse, yet she turned her wounds into wisdom and became one of the most influential voices in the world. These people did not have easy paths. They embraced their struggles, and in doing so, they discovered strength they didn't know they had. It's important to understand that growth is not linear. Life is a series of rises and falls, peaks and valleys. Struggle is the valley you walk through before the next climb. The deeper the valley, the higher the peak. When you accept that valleys are part of the journey, you stop fearing them. You begin to see them as preparation for what's next. Every difficulty is a test, and every test you pass makes you stronger for the next one. But passing the test doesn't mean getting through it without pain. It means refusing to quit, refusing to lose the lesson. Turning struggle into strength is a process. It begins with acceptance. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. Stop pretending things are fine when they are not. Face the truth of your situation, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Then shift your perspective. Ask yourself how this challenge could be a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. From there, take consistent action even if the steps are small. Strength is built daily, not overnight. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and push you forward. And along the way, celebrate small victories. Every bit of progress is proof that you are moving forward. Struggle is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You cannot control every storm, but you can control how you sail through it. You can let it sink you, or you can let it shape you into a stronger captain. When you stop seeing struggle as the enemy, you stop feeling like a victim of life and start feeling like the architect of it. You realize that your power is not in avoiding hardship, but in facing it head on and coming out better on the other side. You will discover your greatest strength in your greatest struggle. And when you do, you will look back on this season not with resentment, but with gratitude. Because you will see that it was the very thing you thought would break you that built you. The fire you are in right now is forging the steel you will carry for the rest of your life. Hold on. Keep going. And never forget, your struggle is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your strength. There comes a point in every person's journey where the struggle becomes so intense that giving up feels easier than going on. You wake up tired, not just in your body, but in your soul. The weight of problems, disappointments, and setbacks presses so heavily on you that the thought of fighting another day feels unbearable. This is the breaking point, and it is also the most critical moment in the process of turning your struggles into strength. Because what you do here will decide whether you step into a stronger version of yourself or remain trapped in the same cycle of defeat. The truth is, strength is not born in moments of comfort. It is born in the middle of the storm, when you have every reason to quit, but you choose not to. It is forged in the decision to take one more step when you don't know if you have any steps left in you. Every time you push forward, when everything in you screams to stop, you are building a kind of resilience that cannot be taken away from you. This is why the most powerful people are not always the most talented or the most fortunate. They are the ones who refuse to surrender when things got hard. To turn struggle into strength, you must first decide that you will not be defined by your circumstances. You may not be able to control what happens to you, but you have absolute control over how you respond. You can respond with bitterness, or you can respond with determination. You can choose to see your situation as a prison, or you can choose to see it as a training ground. The choice is always yours, and it is that choice that determines your future. The problem is that many people believe their struggle is a signal to stop. They see it as a closed door. But in reality, the struggle is often the signal to keep going, to push harder, to search for another way. Most breakthroughs in life happen just past the point where you feel like giving up. If you quit too soon, you will never discover the treasure waiting on the other side of your persistence. Think about how a diamond is made. It starts as a piece of carbon, ordinary and unremarkable. But under immense pressure and heat, over time, it transforms into something rare and beautiful. Without that pressure, it would remain just carbon. You are the same. Without the pressure of your struggles, the greatness within you remains hidden. It is the very weight of your challenges that is shaping you into the person you are meant to be. But you have to endure the process. You cannot rush it, and you cannot escape it. The transformation happens in the middle of the struggle, not outside of it. The people who inspire the world are those who have mastered the art of persistence. They know that life will test them, and they expect it. They don't see obstacles as signs to turn back. They see them as invitations to rise higher. They don't wait for motivation to appear. They create it through disciplined action. They understand that struggle is not the opposite of success. It is the path to it. This is why some people who seem to have less talent or fewer resources still achieve more than others who have every advantage. They have learned to harness their struggle as fuel instead of allowing it to drain them. It's important to understand that there is no strength without struggle. We admire strength in others, but we often fail to see the cost behind it. That strong leader you respect has endured sleepless nights, failures, and moments of doubt. That athlete you look up to has trained through pain, loss, and countless setbacks. That entrepreneur who inspires you has faced rejection, financial stress, and the constant fear of failure. None of them would have become who they are without going through what they went through. And neither will you. The question you must ask yourself is not whether you will face struggles, because you will. The question is what you will do with them. Will you let them harden your heart and make you bitter? Or will you let them sharpen your mind and make you better? Will you use them as an excuse to give up? Or will you use them as a reason to grow? The answer to this question will shape your destiny more than your education, your background, or your circumstances ever could. Turning struggle into strength also requires patience. Growth takes time. You cannot expect to plant a seed today and eat the fruit tomorrow. There is a season for planting, a season for watering, a season for waiting, and eventually, a season for harvest. The waiting season is often the hardest because you don't see results yet. But just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Roots grow underground long before you see leaves above the surface. Your strength is being built in the unseen places, in your mindset, in your habits, in your character, before the results show up in your life. You will also need to embrace failure as part of the journey. Too many people treat failure as the opposite of success, when in reality, it is a crucial part of it. Every failure is a lesson, and every lesson makes you wiser. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb. Each failure brought him closer to the solution. If you can learn to see failure as feedback rather than as a dead end, you will develop a level of mental toughness that nothing can break. Every struggle you face is an opportunity to either quit or grow, and every time you choose growth, you make quitting a little harder to do in the future. One of the most powerful ways to turn struggle into strength is to focus on what you can control. Struggle often makes people feel powerless, but the truth is, there is always something you can control. You can control your attitude, your effort, your discipline, and your perspective. You may not be able to control the economy, the weather, or the actions of others, but you can control how you show up each day. When you shift your focus from what you can't control to what you can, you take your power back. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the author of your life. Another key is to surround yourself with the right people. Struggle can feel isolating, and isolation makes it harder to endure. You need people who will remind you of your strength when you forget it, who will push you forward when you feel stuck, and who will believe in your potential even when you doubt it yourself. The wrong people will feed your fears and doubts, making the struggle feel heavier than it is. The right people will feed your courage and determination, making it feel lighter. Choose your circle wisely, because the voices you listen to will either help you turn your struggle into strength or keep you trapped in weakness. Lastly, remember that struggle is temporary, but the strength you gain from it is permanent. The pain you feel now will pass, but the resilience, wisdom, and confidence you build will stay with you for the rest of your life. When you look back on this season years from now, you may not remember every detail of the struggle, but you will remember the person you became because of it. And that is the greatest reward of all. Your life will not be measured by how many struggles you avoided, but by how many you overcame. Each one is a chapter in your story, and you get to decide whether those chapters are about defeat or about victory. Choose victory. Choose to rise. Choose to see every struggle not as something that happened to you, but as something that happened for you. Because in the end, it's not the struggle that defines you. It's how you respond to it. And if you respond with courage, persistence, and faith, you will not only survive your struggles, you will be transformed by them. That is how you turn your struggles into strength.